Today, we're going to be talking all about simple ways that we save money on road trips. Okay. With that said, one of the main reasons why a lot of people enjoy road tripping is the cost effectiveness of road trips. It doesn't necessarily require a lot of money, I would say, for the most part. And Chris and I, we have spent so much time, especially over the last year, road tripping. We have lots of episodes and tips to share with you because we actually spent quite a bit of time road tripping in Canada last year. But with that, we wanted to break down our favorite money saving tips and hacks to make road trips more affordable.
Bags packed,
Mirrors adjusted,
GPS set,
we're
road trip ready. I'm Chris.
And I'm Danielle. We're two road trip enthusiasts collectively clocking in hundreds of miles
or kilometers
a year exploring the US and Canada.
Now, if you love discovering new destinations
and hidden gems,
the best kept secrets locals cherish, and ways to make your road trips more enjoyable
and affordable,
you're in the right place.
Time to shift into drive and get you
road trip ready.
Let's start off with the pre-planning process because as we have talked about so many times, a lot of things, it's in the prep work. It's in the preparation for road trips. So I'm going to start off and share that, especially with a family and having a young child, a toddler, we intentionally go and do a grocery run before our road trips because I've learned that not only I am more happier when I'm fed and I have snacks, but the baby also is so much more at peace, calm, and happier when we have snacks on hand. So I will definitely doing a grocery run and get all of your the necessities that you need and also snacks as well.
But a part of road tripping, what I find is just snacking on stuff is actually something that helps you to keep your attention focused. So I find I'm constantly I need to eat something, or be munching on something, or be doing something, and having snacks and all that stuff is good. So if you're going to be munching all the time while you're driving, it's better to be peanuts and healthy things, healthier options. So for sure, and we like to have sandwiches and things like that along the route as well. Big way to save money.
Especially when you're traveling and road tripping to more remote areas. During our road trip over the summer, going from Saskatchewan to Manitoba, there were just long stretches, hours long stretches where I didn't even see a gas station. I didn't even see any diners or anything, right? So I think a lot of times if you live in a big city, we take that for granted. We take the convenience of having fuel and having lots of restaurants accessible at a ready. But I think the rule of thumb here is just before you leave, just always have the basics that you need with you because things happen on the road and it's super unpredictable. And you're nodding your head, Chris, because you're like, yep.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, welcome to the big white north. That's how that is up there. And that experience that you had is we're going to touch upon a lot of that as we go through this list in terms of car maintenance and some other things. But yeah, that's life in up north. What I can say is down south, more closer to where I am in Toronto, going along the 401, you're going to have a lot more options to get off the highway and get stuff if you need it. But still, that's going to be an expensive option. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Let's talk about ATMs and bringing cash because, we live in this age where, credit cards and having plastic is the way to go. But I do think a low key way for you to save money is to actually have cash with you so that just in case you run into an issue where there's no cards accepted, that you don't have to pull out money from the ATM, which costs an arm and a leg these days, So these basic smaller things, they always say, it's a small sums of money that add up during the road trip. And this is an easy way to just to spell that. You don't have to have hundreds of dollars. I mean, as an American traveling in America, you don't necessarily need to have hundreds of dollars on you, but Canadians, yes. But Americans who are listening, you don't necessarily need to have hundreds of dollars on a regular road trip, but having something can definitely save you $5 here, $7 here, $8 here on those ATM fees.
Yeah, the same is very much true here as well. So if you're constantly taking money out of the machines, look at it this way. These people know this. Like they make their money just on the word convenience. And and that's quite simply how it rolls. So up here, and down there, anytime you walk into a convenience store, then you're paying money for that. It doesn't even matter. Like prices are not just for food and all that, which we'll talk about in a second, but just using the machine is going to be so much more than using it like in the city. I will add that you could save maybe just a little bit if you try to find a machine that's actually associated with your particular bank. However, when you're out on the road, there's just no guarantee for that. And I will also add specifically if you're an American coming into Canada, you're probably not going to care. But like a Canadian going into America, it matters. So like I think you should definitely change the money here, not at a bank in Canada, but at a one of those cash exchange places where they have a much better rate, so you could get more money for your dollar. I won't get into at this particular time that we're recording this episode how bad our dollar is right now, but that's aside. But yeah, you want to change that money before you even go over there. Just try to get a rough idea how much money you think you'll need, and then have extra just in case. And just use cash out there, because every time that you use your card, you are going to get rocked. There's just no question. You're going to get charged a convenience fee. They're going to get charged the rate that the bank is charging. So you're just going to get rocked for sure. A good example is bought dinner in the States. The meal was $20. I was charged like $40. So that's almost like two meals, or at least maybe 35 or something like that. Like it's convenience plus, whatever the bank is trading, which is always different from what the international rate is. So that's huge. And a little side note, just as a bonus, is most places, once you go into rural America or rural Canada, they prefer cash anyways, and most likely won't have a debit machine or, a bank machine, because it costs them extra money in order to run that. So they usually don't even have it. So if you want to get like those blueberries, we talked about this in the Hidden Gems episode, I think. But if you want to pick up blueberries or something like that on the road, which is again a good snack to munch on while you're driving, they're most likely going to accept cash if you're heading into a farm. So
We just started this episode, and the biggest takeaway for me is do not expect anything. Meaning, like, set expectations to have no expectations. Like, you don't know what you're going to come up against. So, the best thing to do is to prep, have that checklist, be ready for whatever goes, so that you're not in a situation where you're struggling or you're unable to do certain things at certain times. Another big part of road trips is gas expenses, fuel, right? That is one of the big budget eaters when it comes to road tripping. And I know, Chris, you like to use an app that we're going to plug and shout out. But I wanted to also share, when it comes to fuel, something that my mother in law, we were just talking about this today, is how we have in the United States a lot of grocery chains like Stop and Shop. They have groceries and they also have gas stations connected to it. And every time you're shopping at these grocery stores, you can earn rewards that can reduce your gas expense. So for me, I'm a big Stop and Shop shopper, and I click the coupons and I do all that, but I missed out on the whole gas piece. So now I'm intentionally making sure that when I go to the grocery store, I'm making sure I'm getting all of my reward points, and then I'm seeing if I can convert them and get them as savings for my gas. So that's something that it could be like a hidden gem tip, but make sure you're doing that. And a lot of these grocery stores, they have apps. So just explore the different tabs on the apps on your phone and see those savings. But Chris, I know you have an app that you like to use to save on gas.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So it's called GasBuddy. Your credit card tip, what I will say, with the points cards that you're talking about, that's great if you're within your own country. When you go across the border, then that doesn't work, because if you're going to need to use your credit card in order to save money, then that's not going to work. So that's really key depending on where you are. So I just wanted to put that out there, because we had the same, but obviously it's only going to work here in Canada. Like we have certain gas companies like that. Like every single gas company that you have, like Petro, Shell, whatever, they also have snacks and all that kinds of stuff. You could earn points. So yeah, we have that as well. Before I get into GasBuddy, what I will say is that sometimes you can look for certain credit cards that will save you money on gas. I just mentioned Shell, and I thought it just made me think about this. And Shell, I have this. So because I have a CAA membership, which we'll talk about in a second, CAA has partnered with Shell, and you could earn 3 cents off your 3 cents off the total of whatever the price of the gas is. So it does come in handy. So you have to use your credit card, and then it's connected to your CAA membership number, and you save. It's a little bit extra money that you're saving with that 3%. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it can add up. And it's actually quite cool because as soon as they see your card, then the price on the pump actually changes to be 3 cents less. So you know that you're getting that little bit of a discount. So that's a huge tip. So you could subscribe. You could take a look at, certain services like CAA. If you already have a membership with them, then why not locate those particular gas stations, which is what I do. Like if I need to fill up, I'll specifically look for Shell, right? And then in terms of GasBuddy, in a nutshell, the way that GasBuddy works is that it knows where, like, you enter your route. I'm starting from here, I'm going to here. And then it knows where the gas is the cheapest along that route. So typically what, we would do, people who, don't really plan, will just fill up gas, whenever you're empty, right? Which is the worst thing to do. So you could run the risk of like, okay, I'm empty now. And then the nearest gas station, I've done this, I'm guilty, is where they're charging the most for their gas. so what GasBuddy does, it kind of tells you, okay, you're passing by this particular gas station on your route. It's really cheap there. So you should probably stop in there and fill up now, even though you may be half a tank. So it's just telling you to just top up now because along your route, that's the cheapest. So you top up at that point, then you don't really need to deal with it again. And it knows based on your car how much gas you're going to need for this trip and where you're going to need to fill up again. So it will identify where it would be the best time for you to fill up based on where you are along your journey. And that's huge because you're filling up at a time when you may not necessarily need to fill up, but you're saving money in the long run instead of waiting until you have run out of gas and then filling up because now you're desperate. And when you use that app, you can save like $50 or so, $60 just by filling up at very specific times. So that's GasBuddy. I believe it works in the States as well. So we have to look into that. But apparently they say that it works in Europe as well, but I'm not sure. Anyways, but I highly recommend GasBuddy. It's such a great app for sure.
I definitely have heard of them, especially a couple years ago. I definitely heard, but I haven't kept up to date with them. But it sounds like that's super cool that it's following your routes. It's pre-planning gas stops for you. It's taking into account your gas load. Like that's like using technology at its best.
Yeah, and it knows your car. It knows your car. So because you enter all that information prior. So it knows what type of car you're driving, what year, what the cylinders are for the engines. So it knows how much gas it would particularly use based on the route that you're inputting. So it knows about when you're going to be running out. It knows. So it's just kind of like letting you know, fill up now because you're passing by this particular gas station. It's cheap right now. So it just knows. It's just really intuitive. So yeah, it's fantastic. Great app.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Now, at this point, Chris, we need to be sponsored by CAA at this point because you talk about them a lot, which I love. And how does a CAA help with like savings actually? Because, a lot of people may be like, well, I'm spending money on a membership, but the kicker is in the savings that it could happen down the line. Walk us through that.
Number one, yeah, it has the partnership with Shell. So therefore you're saving money on gas by using it. So that's one huge big savings. The second is just in the fact of anything that happens to your car. So depending on the membership that you have. So if let's say you run out of gas because you weren't following your GasBuddy app and you thought that you could make it and you didn't, You can call them and they will bring like a tank of gas for you, or at least enough to get you going. So that's one huge savings. Instead of having to get your car towed somewhere, which would be a huge expense, they will come and fill up your car with gas. So that's one huge saving. If you have issues with your tires or anything like that, if you need to change a tire or you just don't know how to do it, they can come and help with that. Which of course, these are things that you should know how to do on your own, by the way. But the other thing too is if your car just straight, if the battery dies, you can call them. They will come and jump your car for you. There's tools that you can buy to do this yourself. But we'll talk about that in another episode. But they can come and give your car a boost if you need that. If your car just straight breaks down, they are a tow truck, so they can come and tow your car. And then, of course, based on the type of membership you're paying for, will determine how much kilometers will be covered in terms of the tow. So that obviously depends on how far you are from your where you started from, but they cover X amount of kilometers. So all that will be free because it's covered under your membership. So depending on what you pay for will determine how much tolls you're allowed throughout the year. It'll also determine how far the toll could be in terms of kilometers or miles. So that's another huge one. Something stupid like leaving your keys in the car, which by the way, I've done twice. If you remember, we talked about that in the last episode. So just them coming and open up your door so you can get into your car is a huge deal. But one of the main things that I do like, well, there's two more things, but one of the things that I do like is that your membership is connected to you and not your vehicle. So that means that even if I'm driving like a rental car, then they will still come out and start your car or jump the car or do whatever. We were driving a rental car when I left the keys in the car. They will still come out and get us into the car. So it applies to the membership. And even if I was in someone else's car, it just doesn't matter. The membership applies to me as the person who owns it. So it doesn't matter which car I'm in. It just applies to me. And that's really big. So if it's your own car, your friend's car, rental car, it just doesn't matter. And the other thing that I'll say is that they also have their little online store, and being a member will give you discounts on things that are specifically actually for road trips. So things like emergency kits, backpacks, tote bags. They have clothing, they have locks, luggage locks for international travel. Just a variety of things that are just useful for travel, whether you're road tripping or flying. So they offer good discounts on things like that as well if you are a membership, have a membership. So those are some of the things that off the top of my head, makes it worth it having a CAA membership.
I mean, off the top of the dome, that was impressive. Like, and I love that you are like, you use this service. So you know
Absolutely.
how effective it is and why you are a paying member. So that is fantastic. You know, memberships like this is one of those things that it's like, I always have it on my list to get and then I forget. And then it's when you're like in the moment of I really need it, you're like, oh shoot, if only I spent that X amount of dollars a year on that membership, I would have. So this is your reminder, road trippers, to get your membership wherever you're located. There must be a membership that you can join, and it can definitely save your hiney. All right, I want to move on to the packing segment because there's lots of things that we could be packing in our road trips. And I do want to kind of zero in on meals and snacks because Chris and I have different perspectives. You know, traveling with a family, there's just a lot of things that we are packing for our baby. So some of the things that we enjoy packing are apples and oranges, tangerines are quite popular, but I do recommend in addition to, you know, these actual food items, have like little garbage bags with you because things like oranges and tangerines, they'll have peels, right? Bananas get really mushy and soft. So having a just a handy garbage bag will be really important. I also really like trail mixes, chips, and nuts. Like I love cashews. So cashews, peanuts, all of these things, you can just put them in either one big Ziploc bag or smaller Ziploc bags. I really like putting them in smaller Ziploc bags because I could just grab and say, "Hey, do you want oranges?" My son also doesn't like seeing things together, so it's like he wants to see the oranges by themselves and the apples by themselves. So having like just like small little containers and things for him makes things like super super easy. I typically stay away from candy, but when I do go to the like when I do go to a gas station, if my husband who has a sweet tooth wants some candy, I might just like dip in, but I do try to stay away from it for like an energy sake. Chris, what are you all packing usually typically?
A lot of the same things that you just mentioned. So, Gordy she likes almonds specifically. So she'll pack a lot of the same kind of nuts. Like I'm just like, I like classic peanuts. I like cashews. And again, oranges. Like I love tangerines. Like I could eat tangerines all day. So it's actually quite, quite a problem. And Gordy loves oranges, and she could eat oranges all day. So we both like citrus stuff, but she loves apples, and so do I. So we will always have apples in there, bananas for sure. And again, like sandwiches, and actually a lot of water bottles. So we have our main water bottle, but we will actually have like maybe some smaller ones in there, just to have extra water. And anything else that we feel, I like Mio, which is like a little flavoring thing that goes in the water, so we have that. But the key here when we're talking about financial is it's not so much about what we're packing, because we could do a whole separate episode just on packing things. It's more about how you're saving money, because everything that we just mentioned, whether it's almonds, trail mix, cashews, raisins, whatever you want, like all those things, cost like 3 times more money if you were to pick them up en route in a gas station. So in Ontario, we have en route, which are like little pit stops. And you go in there to buy trail mix. Holy smokes. It's like, do you know how much trail mix costs in the other stores? So it's like 3, 4 times more, even the chocolate bars, everything. So the whole point here is as I said, yeah, we could do a whole episode just unpacking, but the whole key takeaway here is that these little things that you could have gotten cheaper at your local grocery store are a complete arm and a leg when you're out on the road. Like we're talking $3, $4 more. Like, so that's a huge savings right there. It's not to say that when you go in there, let's say you ran out of cashews and you need more, fine. But you know, I'm just saying that it's a lot more money. So if that's where you're looking to save money, that's one way for sure to save money. There's nothing better than walking into one of those places and then just using the washroom and then just leaving, because you don't need to actually buy anything from there. Like, so that's really what that stop is supposed to be for.
I love how you brought it back, right? You brought it back to like the purpose of doing all these things. And, in addition to your own grocery stores, you can also consider going to places like BJ's and Costco to like buy in bulk so that when your upcoming road trips, you have all these things at a hand at a ready. And hopefully you're saving even more money by buying these things at these wholesalers, which could be really important.
Especially water. If you're a water person, then definitely you can get like huge the cases of water. If you're into Coke or anything like that, I mean, that's I don't particularly drink that unless I have a sick stomach. It's the best for you. Have a sick stomach. But anyways, but like things like that, like cases of Coke, cases of like those energy drinks, all those kind of things. Like if that's what you like, then just grab that at Costco. Do not buy any of those things, Coke, energy drinks, any of that stuff while you're actually at one of those pit stops. They sell all of that stuff, but it's 3 times the price.
And you mentioned something really awesome where it's like, yes, those rest stops, they're great for using the bathroom. They're great for like recharging, maybe a selfie moment, a scenery, right? But ultimately, they are going to charge way more than if you were at home, right? So that's like a key takeaway here. I think also something that we had Britt talk about in episode number 4 was having these park passes. So, national, state, provincial park passes can be like a great way for you to save. Do you have any park passes by any way?
I have one for Ontario. So we have like provincial parks and then we have national parks. So being that I'm a TMAC member, which is Travel Media Association of Canada, we all get like a provincial park pass every year. So that's helpful, specifically if I'm road tripping in Ontario. But yeah, you can get the national park pass as well. I don't have one, but yeah, that's a good idea to have one.
Pro tip, sometimes these passes have like either they're on sale or they're like giveaways. Sometimes I've seen a couple years, especially like during the pandemic. I know that they were really trying to get people to enjoy the parks more. So I saw more promotions about that. So just be on the lookout, right? I always say the best way to stay informed, I'm all about financially savvy travel, and the best way to stay informed is to join newsletters. So if you enjoy a park or you want to go to a park, hop online, join their newsletters really quickly, and that way you'll get information about their events, their programs, ways to save money, and those special promotions. So that's like a, next level, very simple tip that you can do. We're going to jump into the finances because this is my favorite part. I love all things finances and travel, right? So, a big part of my road trip checklist, I have a duplicate checklist for road trips, but just the financial stuff that I have to do. So before I leave my house, there are quite a bit of things that I make sure check, 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 check. So that when I come home, I'm not stressed, overwhelmed, and I make sure I'm optimizing all of my purchases when I'm out on the road. So if you are a credit card user, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you are bringing with you a couple of cards that have key features. One is a card that you're earning 2, 3, 4, 5 times the points and miles on gas purchases. We already talked about like how GasBuddy saves you money on actual gas, but when you bring a credit card that optimizes for gas spending, now you're going to get cash back. Now you're going to get points and miles that you could use to what? Spend it on more travel in the future. So I really think that is super important. And in the actual blog post, we can have some recommendations. If you are interested in cards, we'll have some recommendations for you there. Another thing for you to be on the lookout for is sometimes some of these cards have activation bonuses, meaning that you have to click to activate to earn exponential amount of points and miles. So you can see this a lot in the American Express platform, for example. So you'll probably be getting emails from American Express, and all you have to do is simply click on the promo and it'll register. So sometimes, okay, my basic could be, let's say, 2 points per mile, but on a special promotion, over the summer, I could be earning 5 points per dollar spent, which could be awesome too. So just figuring out what card that you're going to bring can be a great way to fuel your additional adventures. I also, in my little checklist that I also am looking at cards that do not have foreign transaction fees. So if I am, let's say, I'm going from New York to Montreal, I want to make sure I'm bringing a credit card that doesn't charge me for spending money in Canada naturally. So be on the lookout for that. That could be a very simple way that you are able to use your cards. So that's my little spiel for you. So these are like very simple things you could do, but have a little checklist for yourself so you know what to bring. Oh, and also like I would also say if you are, let's say, spending money, let's say you're spending a night. Let's say you're spending a night at a hotel on your road trip. Make sure you're bringing that card that's going to maximize your hotel points and miles, right? That sometimes like for me, I book a hotel months ago with the right card, right? I'm booked the points, it's good. And then I actually get to the hotel and they're like, "Okay, can you give us a credit card on file?" Then I forgot to bring that card. So just keep that in mind, right? Especially if you're staying at a Hilton or a Marriott or, an IHG. If you have those co-branded cards, not only do you have to book it with the card, but you also, when you get to the destination and you're checking into your hotel, you need that card as well. That's happened to me so often where I bring the wrong card. Last point. When you're checking in at your hotel, make sure you give them your membership numbers. okay, your loyalty numbers. Because, saving money is partly about the prep things you do to actually save cash. But a lot of times when it comes to travel, saving money is also getting points and miles, getting rewards in the back end for future travel experiences. So it's kind of like a two-parter. Let's save the cash now, but also let's actually save so we could travel more with the rewards that we earned.
Okay. So yeah, so next the what next thing we have to talk about is car maintenance, vehicle maintenance, very important. So there's a lot of things that you could do to prepare your car. But there's one main thing that I'm going to highlight. So sure, changing your oil is not going to affect the road trip per se. Now, if you haven't changed the oil in like, way over the designated time that you were supposed to change the oil, then that's going to be a problem. So, checking your brakes, make sure there's fluid there, those kind of things, you could do before you even go on your road trip. So you could take your car to the mechanic and they could do like a little quick look over, make sure things are topped up, make sure your windshield washer fluid is topped up in case you are going and it's winter time. Make sure that, as I said before, the brake fluid is topped up. Make sure that your oil has been changed. Those kind of things are all very important. For me, I don't need to change the oil in my car till I reach 10,000 kilometers. So I need to change it every 10,000. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's not something, oh, I'm going on a road trip, I better go change the oil. It's not like that. It only matters if you haven't changed it in a long time and you're overdue, because that will definitely lead to engine problems, as oil is like the blood for your car. So it'll definitely lead to engine problems, and you don't want your engine giving you problems while you're on the road. So it is important, but relatively speaking, what I will say is more important is actually your tire pressure. That is the most important thing. So your tire pressure helps the car to run smoothly on the surfaces. I liken it to if you're if you were riding a bike and you didn't have any air in your tires, you know how hard it is to make that bike move. You exert a lot more energy in order to pedal this bike if your tires are flat or have not much air in them. It's the same thing with a car. So your car will have to work harder in order to push the vehicle. So you always want to keep your tires at the proper pressure. The way that you can figure this out is on the tires themselves. But if you look at the inside of the door panel, when you open up the door on the side there, you'll see all the specs for your tires on the driver's side door. That's usually where it is. If not, ask your mechanic. But keep your tire pressure on point. The way that you lose tire pressure is when you go over bumps. So if you're like me in Toronto and you go over speed bumps or potholes, which you have a lot of, that will screw up with the pressure of your tires. So you want to always make sure that your tire pressure is good. If your tire pressure is not good, then your vehicle will tend to lean a lot more, which is not only unsafe, but it also wears the treads on your tires faster. So when your tires get balded, there's a better chance that they will explode. So you want to make sure that your tires are running equally on all four. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but sometimes when you're driving on the highway, you see random tires and wheels all over the place. That's from people's tires blowing up while they're driving. So tire pressure is extremely important for fuel efficiency. So that would be, out of all the vehicle maintenance stuff, I think that is probably the most important one. So if anything, if you go to your mechanic, at least get the tire pressure fixed. So that'll be my biggest tip.
Speaking of blown out tires on the side of the road, when I was driving in Tennessee, I love Tennessee, by the way, great road trip destination. All you see is tires on the road. Like, it's just like littered, at least from what I saw when I went a couple of years ago. It was just, and I was like, whew. I don't have much to add here. The only thing that I will add is it's super small. Like, your windshield wipers comes in so clutch when it's raining. It is so critical, and I just can't begin to tell you, because I struggled with that. Like, for some reason, my windshield wipers go super fast. So that's one of the things I always am making sure that can I see, do I have good visibility? Because that comes in super clutch. We're going to do a rapid fire round. We're just going to go pew pew and share with you some just quick tips on like how else you can save money when you're on a road trip. So my tip is to simply just drive the speed limit. We do not want to get pulled over unnecessarily and have to be paying tickets, right? That is a great way to waste time on a road trip and to spend additional money that you do not need to. So just follow the rules.
Keep an eye out for toll cameras. So make sure you budget for that if you're going into the States, because that could be a lot of money just in tolls. So just keep an eye on that. We talked about that in the previous episode. So tolls for sure. But just follow the traffic rules. Get a sense of, I know sometimes it could be hard, but the example that I can give is in Montreal, for some reason, like you can't turn right on a red, which is weird. So we can, in Canada, unless the sign specifically says otherwise. Sorry, in Toronto, we can do that. In Ontario, I should say the province. In Ontario, we can do that. But in Quebec, for some reason, you can't. And Montreal specifically. So if they catch you, they'll give you a ticket. So just little stupid things like that. Like be aware of where you're allowed to park and not park. Don't just park anywhere. If you need to park somewhere, check for a meter. Don't just assume that you could park for free. If I would actually prefer to look for parking, even if it costs more, just so I know I'm in a metered parking where I'm paying for it. Don't just park on a random side of the road anywhere. So little things like that will just add up, because not only will you get a ticket, you could also get your car towed. And that's a whole nother amount of money, especially if you're in a place that you're not familiar.
Yes. I just have a rule of thumb, make no assumptions when I am road tripping. I make no assumptions. I am not in my home environment. I cannot assume that I know what the rules are, including turning right on red. So that's something that we do here in Connecticut. You can just do it naturally, of course, in a safe place, safe environment. But in big cities like New York City, that does not fly. And you can get into
Mm.
big trouble. So when you're road tripping, just be very attentive to the signage, be very attentive to, again, assuming that you don't know what to expect in that regards. We have a lot of cards, like gift cards that we get. You know, we just came off of the holiday season. A lot of us get gifts. Bring out them Starbucks gift cards. Bring out the gift cards that you have in your junk drawer. Like, take them out and use them on your road trips. That's part of the financial checklist I talk about that I have, is I just make sure to have all of like my gift card just set so I can just grab and go and not even have to use my own cash.
So if you want to, not use tolls, and you want to use a regular route, it's definitely going to take you much longer. So you got to do what's best for you. If you want to drive longer, then that could affect your trip, and maybe you might need to have more accommodations. Or if you want to do the toll and pay the money, you can get to your destination faster. It's up to you, but one way or the other, it's just something to think about, because if you take the toll, you will be charged for it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're the US is good for tolls. That's what we do. We collect taxes and tolls and all of that good stuff. Book an accommodation that has a fridge. Again, another small thing, but if you are, whether you like bringing snacks and, your own meals with you on the road, or you're going to a restaurant and you have your doggy bag and you have food left over, being able to put it in a fridge and actually eat it is important. I know for me, I just like, I'm going to eat it when I get back and I forget. So just like remember to, before you head out, like look at what's in the fridge, eat the things that eat your leftovers. That could be a good way to like hold you over for a meal. And that's one less expense that you have on the road. That wraps up our episode. Chris, I felt like we just
Wow.
did a lot. There's a lot of ways, and I feel like we just scratched the surface, honestly. Like, we could still think of a million other ways to save money on the road trips.
Oh, 1000%. But if you guys have anything that we've missed that you'd like to add, then just let us know. For sure, because we'll probably be doing, we will definitely be doing an article about this to follow up. So let us know if there's anything that we missed, let us know, and we'll throw that in the article. But definitely, yeah, this was a great great conversation. I love this one.
A good beginner one, right? A good beginner.
Mm.
Well, we are back, baby. We are back with season two of Road Trip Ready podcast. If you haven't already, now is a good time to hit that follow button on whatever podcast player you're listening to.
Yeah, if you are following us on YouTube, then by all means, jump in there, subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts. Like, we read the comments. That stuff will help us make the episodes moving forward. That will guide us in terms of the articles that we create. We really, this podcast is very much yours as is ours. So jump in there, comment, participate. Let us know your thoughts. So in the next episode, we are going to discuss the difference between day trips, weekend getaways, and your classic road trips. A lot of people are asking me, how do you divide those? Like, what qualifies? How much hours does a day trip qualify for? And where's the line before it being too long of a trip for it to be considered a day trip, where it's now a weekend getaway or something like that? So in the next episode, we're going to talk about how I scientifically break all that down. So you don't want to miss it.
Don't want to miss it. All right. We'll see you in the next one.